Good evening. We're here in Lisbon attending the 6th ISMA meeting, and it's my greatest pleasure to have here with me Professor M.Ollert. He's the director of the Department of Infection and Immunity at Luxembourg Institute of Health, and he's also one of the chairs of the EAACI Task Force on Molecular Allergology, with the aim to publish a handbook on molecular allergology. Why do you feel that doctors need this handbook on molecular allergology?
Well, this is actually the best question you could ask me, because we have seen in the last 20 years an enormous advance in the technology here in Europe. In Europe, and EAACI in the center has been a key driver of bringing these technologies forward. So we have seen a change of paradigm in IgE diagnostics with the advent of the molecules. But on the other side, we have also identified a huge gap between what is going on in the advancement of technology and what really arrives on the doctor's side and what really arrives in patient care. So we thought there is a gap, and EAACI and the task force has identified this gap, and this handbook really wants to close this gap.
Who contributed to this handbook, and how did you manage to work all together? Because I know that this task force has been composed with a lot of seniors and experienced people in the field.
Yeah, it's actually a huge task force. We were more than 50 members or contributors to chapters in this handbook from all over Europe, from 12 European countries, 4 non-European countries, all contributing, some of them more than one chapters, of course. And this task force is more or less special in a way because it's so huge, and so we needed actually not just one chair, we needed several chairs, and it was not only me, of course, it was Paolo Matricardi, it was Jörg Kleineteppe, it was Rudolf Valenta, Hans-Jürgen Hoffmann, and we all worked very closely together, had several meetings to prepare everything until the final beta version of the handbook got finally submitted to the executive committee.
So how is the handbook being structured? How is it composed?
The handbook has a very special structure. It has actually 3 main parts. Why 3 parts? Well, the first part is more or less a general introductory part to molecular allergology, to the extracts, the molecules, how to apply in a more general principle the molecular testing. So this is part A. And in the part B, we take the more classical, clinically driven, so-called top-down approach, where we more or less follow the symptoms and the classical disease categorizations of the patients, and then follow the clinical algorithm all the way down to the molecule, and then how to apply the molecule to come to a better diagnosis. And the third part is more or less the bottom-up approach, as some call it, which is the molecular approach. You just go by the molecular profile, by the molecular fingerprinting, and decide on the molecular structures that are recognized by patient IgE, how to then come to a better diagnosis by also integrating the clinical information into it. And what's again special is that we tried to more or less combine the classical clinically driven top-down approach with this bottom-up approach in kind of a U-formed, U-shaped interaction that we tried to closely link the authors of the part C with the part B, and some of them even overlap in chapters of both parts. So we get most of the clinical information also in the molecular part of the handbook.
And what other positive effects do you expect from this handbook?
Well, there will be a lot of positive effects, of course, and I mean, I listed them here, but I mean, the most important positive effects will, of course, be that we need such a handbook for the training of our future specialists in allergology. I think this will be the most important effect that we expect from such a handbook, but it can of course also be used for non-allergy specialists who are interested in treating allergic patients, like the pediatricians, the laboratory doctors, the pneumologists, the dermatologists, just to name a few, they all can have a very great benefit out of such a handbook for their daily work. And when we combine it then with the web-based approach, it will even be better for them. And of course, it could also be an important repository for future allergy schools around the world, not only in Europe, for our faculty, for the students taking part in these allergy schools.
So when will this handbook be launched?
Well, the plan is at this point to launch the handbook at the EAACI Congress in Vienna in 2016.
And this handbook will be published on the EAACI website. But what is your perspective for the future? Will it be updated sometime?
Yes, this is the plan. We would like to update it on a regular basis in the future. We would like to have it as a web-based repository with regular updates of the latest advances in the field to put them into the handbook in the future. I think this is really important, and I think this should be something that EAACI should guide also for the future, should make available on the website. And we would like to be this handbook a central repository for global allergy care in the future.
Thank you very much for all this information. We are certainly looking forward to reading the handbook, and thank you very much.